All right. Well, hey, welcome everybody to a Tech Tip Tuesday week again. We're back on air. My name is Ken Close. I am a Healy World member, like most of you guys, and I am joined with from Jake Barron. He is all the way over there in Florida. I'm on the other side of the world, well, at least the country in Washington State. Um, Jake Barron is our head of operations. Hey, hello, Jake. Hi, guys.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. And yeah, Ken, it's been quite a crazy, in a good way, very busy late spring heading into summer here as far as trying to schedule all these meetings. Normally it's very rare that we ever miss a Tech Tip Tuesday, but it's just been so much going on the last 6 weeks or so. But
Exactly. Something right after something right after
yeah,
something, right? So I'm super happy to be back here. Welcome all you guys. Thanks for joining us and coming back. Some of our amazing, faithful uh, people that join us. I mean, and then hopefully we got some new folks here, but we are back in business. So for you guys that are new, by the way, this is a chat-based forum where you guys put your questions in the chat, and we've got myself and Jake Barron, and we have Anthony in the chat room back there with the talent of the customer service. Anthony is one of the customer service agents that maybe some of you guys worked with before,
yeah.
but
Thank you,
also
Anthony, for being here.
thank you for being here, Anthony. So again, we have live customer service. We have live Jake. We have live Ken. We tend to solve all kinds of fun stuff. So pretty much anything with the technology, with theory, with operation, with usage, with connection, with apps, with all that kind of stuff is on the table for discussion. What we don't talk about, though, is what we can't really talk about is anything that has to do with diagnostics of a condition, a disease, a disorder, something with a health condition. We can't really treat or prevent diseases. We don't talk about that, but we have resources we can point you to for trying to get some guidance there too. So we can talk about a lot of stuff. We just want to make sure that we're clear on what we do want to cover, and then get to those things in a very orderly manner. So folks, jump in there in that chat room, start filling it up with your questions. And by the way, thank you for all the happy birthday wishes. You guys are awesome. I
Yeah, for
love it.
those of you that joined late, today is Ken's birthday, so make sure you put your birthday wishes there into the chat. If you're watching the recording, it's probably going to be tomorrow, so it'll be a belated birthday. But Ken, I'm sure you'll welcome all birthday messages this whole month. So
Healy works in the quantum field, you guys. So here's the cool thing about quantum entanglement. No matter when someone sends energy, a feeling, an emotion, a transmission, it's received by those that it's intended for. So I'll be feeling it for as long as you guys are watching this and sending it, I'll be there to receive. So thank you very much. Okay, so what do we got? We got any questions yet, guys? I see some raining of birthday cakes
a
in the
lot of
chat.
happy birthdays, yeah.
I love it. Thank you very much, you guys. And if there isn't any questions in there, I mean, we always find stuff to talk about, and there's some cool things that are, already launched and on the horizon that we can talk
Yeah.
about too. My,
If no one has a question right now, if you have an input or idea for a topic that you would want to see covered on the next Healy for Beginners and Beyond, definitely put that in the chat as well, because we're going to start putting together the agenda for that.
So those of you that might be new, Healy for Beginners and Beyond. Initially, Jake launched that as like an unboxing, right, for
Yeah,
for the world to see how do what when you get your device, that step-by-step thing. You want to tell them about that, Jake? What your initial creation was?
yeah, because we did it every week for I think the first 3 months. We did that, and every episode started with an unboxing, and then that was before we were putting everything onto our YouTube channel. So it kind of, after a while, there was enough of those recordings on there that it was kind of no longer necessary to do the unboxing every week. But we kind of had the beginners part at the beginning, and then we did a different topic at the end. Each week we would kind of rotate through the different apps and stuff. And recently, because we have such great onboarding tools in Academy, like all the different videos on each of the apps and that kind of stuff, we kind of changed the format to kind of just picking one specific, not always one specific topic, but in general, one topic to focus on. Like the last one, we were focusing on doing the Analyze 2 app and recording your own the vibration of substances, that kind of thing, whether it's an essential oil or something like that. Sometimes we do like a top 10, like, okay, here's the top 10 things you need to know in Healy world right now, that kind of thing as well. So yeah, we've done some on MagHealy, we've done some on the Healy 2 app, we've done on HealAdvisor, HealAdvisor Search. So we've done one on just animals, which was a lot of fun. We had all of our pets on the call with us. But yeah, any topics you would like to hear us discuss in more detail, just put those into the chat. Maybe we can add it to the list for one of the upcoming Healy for Beginners and Beyond. And it looks like now we do have some questions that have come in here.
Love it. Yeah, absolutely. So we got one here from Carrie who said, I would like clarity on running the Blue app with the MagHealy. So let's kind of clarify the difference, first of all, between running either the Healy or the MagHealy with the Blue app or the Pink app, right? Or the HealAdvisor Analysis or the Healy app itself. So one is the Pink app or the Healy 2 app. Its main design is to generate microcurrent if it's the Healy, or magnetic energy from the MagHealy. That's its purpose, is to interface with the hardware, send the program to the hardware so that the hardware then uses a magnetic signal with the MagHealy or a microcurrent signal with the Healy. And of course, with the Coil and the Healy, you can actually create some magnetic energy as well. But that's its main purpose. Now, the Blue app, though, it works with the quantum field. It works specifically with a member or a client, right? So it's what we would call quantum entanglement. So when you put a client into the client record on the Blue app, now you've essentially set a GPS signal, a destination. You've locked in everything from that point on to that particular entity, that client, that person. Okay, you've locked it in. So now when you do work with the MagHealy, it's pertaining to that particular person. So a little bit different, because the other way with the Pink app, whoever's wearing the Healy, right, or whoever's in proximity of the MagHealy is getting the benefits of that emission. So it's kind of locked into a proximity, right? With the Blue app, no proximity. I mean, now you can go across the world, right? You can go anywhere in the universe. So does that make sense? So Jake, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, so Carrie also mentioned, she understands the difference, but how would the water atmosphere affect me? So if you're running an analysis, you have your Healy device connected to the Analyze app. If you have the residence or higher, you see that there's the MagHealy databases there that you can do an analysis on. So if you were, say, to do an analysis on one of those program groups, water, atmosphere, and you get the results, you will be vibrating those results via your Healy device, not vibrating those via the MagHealy. So, and again, as Ken just mentioned, it's a different modality. You're vibrating those frequencies versus using the magnetic field of. If you just were to open up your MagHealy connected to the Healy 2 app and then run an atmosphere or water program specifically, that's different than vibrating it. But both have benefits, but one doesn't replace the other, that kind of thing. There are a few newer like for example, the new Meridian module that was launched late last year. That one, you actually connect the MagHealy to the Analyze 2 app, do the analysis there, and you're actually running those programs via the MagHealy instead of your Healy device. And there's more programs that are being worked on as well that will be able to be run via the MagHealy from the Analyze 2 app as well. So I think hopefully that answered most of that question.
Well, let's go into like what Carrie's asking, affect me. That last two words. How would it affect me, right?
Yeah.
So if we're looking at so you know the difference. You know the difference between the blue app and the creation of quantum entanglement with a client, and the difference between the pink app and the implementation in space and time to the environmental or the body that's connected to. Now, let's look at it this way for a second. When you're running the MagHealy, okay, so the MagHealy is transmitting out of it magnetic energy, okay, and a waveform that goes out into space is simply just a waveform, a frequency, right? But it is the way that it moves through the atmosphere or through space and time is through magnetic energy, right? Electromagnetic energy essentially is how we transmit energy from one point to another. So like a radio station, when it is sending out a signal, that electron flow from, say, the DJ's voice and the music that's put into, let's just call it a container of electrons, it's energy, and it's put through the electronic systems up the antenna. And when you have electron flow up an antenna, laws of physics say that every time there's electron flow, there is a magnetic wave emission from it. That's just physics from that electron flow. So when that electron flow is going up the antenna, it's emitting a magnetic wave, and it's moving out omnidirectionally all over the world. And depending on the amplitude or the power that that determines the range it can go. So when you're driving your car and your car has another antenna, so when you send electron flow up a conductor, it creates a magnetic field. When that magnetic field on the opposite end, it comes across a conductor, it emits electron flow. So it's an opposite effect. And so the electron flow that's emitted into the antenna on your car has information on it. And your car's radio decodes the information and then plays the words from the DJ and the music that he played at the speed of light. This all happens very quickly. Well, your body is an antenna. Just like the antenna on your car, it receives radio frequencies or magnetic frequencies in waveforms in the form of magnetic energy. And so when Healy or MagHealy, if Healy is doing it with the coil or MagHealy is doing it with the MagHealy itself, those magnetic waves go out and your body's an antenna. Those magnetic waves hit the body, the antenna, and the body decodes the content, electron flow. And your body gets the information of the frequencies being sent from the hardware. And your body then uses it to its advantage, right? To whatever program you're sending. So if it's water, here's the fun part. Interestingly enough, if you've got your MagHealy on your water container, now not this one, but a glass of water, you've got it on there and you're sending those waves into your water and you're sitting next to it, guess what? That waveform is not only going into the water, it's also going into the water in your body and sending information into the antenna of your body, the water. And then when you drink the water, you're getting coherent signals. Make sense? Pretty cool. All right. Hopefully that helps. Anything you want to add to that, Jake?
No, I think we covered it from pretty much all the different angles there.
There is a lot of angles to cover that from, because again, Healy penetrates every market out there. I mean, this is the cool thing about the Healy technology. It can transcend any market. I mean, that doesn't matter if it's the fitness market, if it is the wellness market, if it is the coaching market, right? It doesn't matter what market. Healy has a way of helping it out.
I always like when you're kind of demonstrating Healy to people for the first time, especially when you're doing the Analyze app and you go, okay, let's show you how you put it into a client. And then you kind of see, is it a person? Is it an animal? Is it a plant? Is it a building? And you're like, everything in the world is, is the target market. Everything in the world can benefit from the Healy device.
Exactly. You know, it just because when we're setting up a client, there's no boundary. We are just using what's called quantum entanglement. And quantum entanglement doesn't say it's only can be entangled with a human body or an animal. It can be entangled with, let me put it this way, wherever you can place your attention is where we can entangle. So how many things can you put your attention on? I mean, just go ahead, make a little list. I mean, it'll take you a couple of months,
Yeah.
but you can put your attention on anything. And so that's exactly what we're doing with Healy. We're putting the attention of this objective observer, right? Just information. It's all it's doing is looking at information. And the target is information. So is the client information. The database is information. And so it's just building these bridges, these amazing bridges. Early on, when I first started with Healy, people would ask me, what's your napkin pitch for Healy, right? What's your 30-second quick little explanation? And I would say that Healy is a bridge between the quantum field of information and the biological and physical fields of matter. It's just building a bridge, right? And so there's a frequency that can help modify any one of those physical, tangible entities. All right. You guys are awful quiet out there. I don't see too many questions.
It looks, we do have one question about the battery life, and Anthony already put some great information into the chat, so thank you for that. But the question was, is it normal for the battery to last only through 2 programs of about 50 minutes each? So no, I mean, that's definitely a little bit less than normal. You know, Anthony put in there, it could be anywhere from 3 to 7 programs, depending on what intensity you're running at, the length of the program, because some programs are longer than an hour each, some are only 20 minutes, that kind of thing. But yeah, in general, no, that's not normal. So I'd be curious, maybe put it in the chat also, you know, if you've tried any of the battery troubleshooting yet, as far as hard reset to kind of try to recalibrate it, or how old your Healy device is too. Is this something that just started to happen, or has it been kind of gradually getting worse and worse, or was it normal then suddenly went to 2 programs, or that kind of thing?
Yeah, and so you know, I always go back to where we're getting our power from when we're charging the Healy now. So when you plug the Healy in, of course, the green light comes on, right? And then it goes through a process of charging, and it has a pretty quick rate of change for the charge in the very beginning, but then the last bit of final charging is a longer period of time. So, you know, you should be able to expect about a 90-minute, a minimum of a 90-minute charge cycle. So if your Healy light comes on when you plug it in, right? You're charging it, and the green light comes on, and then 30 minutes later that light goes off. Now we have something to pay attention to, because that's not normal. And some of that process may be not necessarily the Healy, but what's charging it. Some of these rapid chargers put out 4 amps or 4,000 milliamps. That's too much. And there is a boundary we want to stay within. 500 milliamps is not enough. 1,500 to 2,000 is about the sweet spot. So take a look at the adapter that plugs into the AC outlet, the block itself, right, that your cord plugs into for the USB. Take a look at that. There's going to be some specs on it. And if there aren't any specs on it, you know, some of those less expensive ones that really don't have some specs on it, you might want to look at that and get a better one. So that's the first place to start. I also take a look at when I plug my Healy in and I plug the cord in. When I plug the cord in and I set it down, as I'm setting it down, if I see the green light like flickering and flashing, I paying attention to that, because that's a problem with the connection. Maybe my cord, or maybe the socket in which the cord's plugging into is dirty, right? Or the cord is no good. I take a look at that because that's really relevant. When we have a flickering green light, and when I say flickering, I'm talking about not just oscillating, but I'm talking about on off kind of flickering, right? That connection, and a flickering indication means a poor connection. Poor connection means poor electron flow. Poor electron flow means poor battery charge. It's just the way electronics work. So we need to just take a look at all those things and see if we can improve some of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm also curious if after they charge it fully, when they go to connect to their Healy device, is it showing 100% when they start up for the first time too, or if it's lower, or after they run one program, is it kind of going to a regular percentage decrease? Like, I don't know, now it's at 80% or something, or is it down to 20% after one program there too? I know Anthony said he's assisting them via private chat, which is great. So, but yeah, we'll get it figured out. If not, we'll send over the steps to. It's out of warranty at this point. After 3 years, there's a 2-year warranty on the device, but Anthony will definitely assist to let you know what options there are.
Yeah, it's good to be able to unpack this stuff on the recording so that people that are watching the recording later
Yeah.
can actually take a look at what we talked about and maybe be able to do some more troubleshooting on their own. Because of course the chat doesn't wind up carrying over into the recordings, but yeah, so we're trying to give you as much information as you can, so that the recording folks who are watching this later can also get some benefit. So Carrie has another question here about, do we feel that the new HealAdvisor app is more precise than the previous version? So the HealAdvisor Analyse app, this is the HealAdvisor Analyse 2. What has changed within that is not anything about the accuracy. Different things are in different places. Maybe they look a little different. More capabilities were added. But the way that the Healy hardware interfaces with just energy in general, the app isn't really doing it. I mean, it's bridging the database with the client, but the random generator that's in Healy is actually using consciousness as a influencer over the circuitry. And so the consciousness that is assigned to the client in the Blue app, okay? Because remember, it takes a recording of the vibration, right? Also has a name. It also has a date of birth, a place of birth, gender, content that starts to define the consciousness of that particular client. And that has an effect on the random generator that Healy uses as the bridging technology. So, yeah, the way the app works is just a little bit different, but I think accuracy is still, from what I've experienced, it's still the same. It's, if not better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We got kind of a small crowd this evening, and that's cool. I like it. We can stay caught up with questions or content.
Yeah. Let's see what else.
I'm also going to kind of advise or coax folks to actually go to the Academy too and take a look at some new stuff that's showing up in there. And how many of you guys spend some time in the Academy watching videos and learning a little bit? Because the cool thing about that is there is information in there about this quantum entanglement and the theories around or the science around that. In fact, there's another spot where you can get just science too. I think we talked about that a little bit. Didn't you talk about that, Jake, on where was it?
Yeah, I always love to talk about Academy because it is such a great resource, and there's still some people out there that aren't really fully utilizing it or even really kind of aware of it. But yeah, there's always something new being added there. Like here's just for example, just over the last couple of weeks, I think it's been, like how we have the different chapters on our recordings of our Tech Tip Tuesday, Healy for Beginners and Beyond, that kind of thing, on our YouTube channel, where you can just go straight to that section. You'll see here we also have kind of a similar feature for almost all the videos here of the key points of the video. So say you have a video that's 10 minutes long, you can kind of see, okay, I want to go back to solving app issues or app permissions or that kind of thing, which is very helpful too. Like here's this video here is 13 minutes long. So if you watched it and didn't really remember, okay, where was that section on coherent domains? Okay, right here, click on that. You're good to go. So definitely that's kind of just helping make it a little bit easier to use throughout Academy as well. And I believe working on a new search feature also.
I love it. So like we were just talking about the hard reset just a second ago, right? And you saw that one section right there in the recording, it says hard reset. So you can actually tap right on hard reset. It's right there on that quick troubleshooting right there. You click on that and then boom, right there is how to do a hard reset. So
yeah,
super useful stuff. Let's see, we have another question about the vibrate mode. So here's a question. When you do the vibrate after you use the list of programs, so in other words, you've done an analysis and this is all done from the HealAdvisor Analyse app, the blue app. You do an analysis and then there's a list of results, right? No matter what database you chose, whether it's the all Healy programs, the gem elixirs, whatever, you're going to wind up with a list of results. And there's going to be 5 pieces of information, or the results are 5 different line items or pieces of information there. And then when you hit the vibrate mode, what's going on there, right? Do you have to connect anything to the Healy hardware to get the functionality to actually work with the client? And the answer there is no. You don't have to connect any wires. You don't have to connect any coil or anything else. And here's why. As I mentioned before, when you put a client in there, so you're adding a client record. Client is a person, an animal, a vehicle, a place, whatever, right? You got a long list of clients that you can have. And the reason it's so diverse is because you're creating a quantum blueprint or fingerprint of that client. And this is it is pointing the finger at only one thing in the whole universe. Okay. And one person or one animal. And you're taking the vibrational signature of that and adding it into the client record with the Healy hardware. Okay. And it doesn't have to be local. Like I said earlier, where you place your attention is where you place your energy. So you can do this remotely with a person on the other end, and you're inputting the content into the client record because your attention is on them. Their attention is on the moment and what you're doing. And so that information is then locked in as a unique signature in space and time as a 3-dimensional entity. From that point on, everything that program does is linked through quantum entanglement to that one entity. You don't need, when it's doing the vibrate mode, the Healy hardware is sending a signal out linked to that client. So no matter, you don't have to have anything attached to it because the linking mechanism is at the molecular level. It's at the energy level, and there's no limit to space and time. So what's actually coming out of Healy at that time, right? Let's say it doesn't have the coil on it. What's actually coming out of Healy at that time, right? It is a digital link between the client and the frequencies that are assessed for that client. And then Healy starts to do the transmission. It just builds that bridge and sends that information out there in the ways of frequencies. Healy does have a frequency generator built into it. But when you're doing the Blue app, you don't have to have the Healy close to you or the client. Okay. It's still doing that job. To understand quantum entanglement gives a whole new understanding of how this system works. It's really hard to say, well, how come, if I'm talking about radio waves from a radio station and my car picking up those radio waves, and that the further you get away from your town, those radio waves go away and you lose the station, right? That's talking about a magnetic wave that has no destination. It has no quantum entanglement. It's just going out there omnidirectionally. In other words, the radio station is not saying, I only want to send this signal to Jake, right? It doesn't do that. It wants to send it to everybody because it wants to, the further it's reached, the better. So there's no quantum entanglement there. Different than what this system is using. Okay.
And Ken, while we're at it here, back to Academy for if you want to kind of learn more. Ken, it was an amazing explanation, but if you want to learn more about the information field, quantum entanglement, that kind of thing. So back to Academy where we were just now, go to the science section, click on information field, and then you'll see this whole video series here, introduction, information and its fundamental importance, the information field, interactions between consciousness, information field, physical noise gender entanglement, consciousness and physical noise gender entanglement. So I think most of these videos are a little bit longer, but if you really want to get a good understanding of the science behind it, maybe watch one of these each day for the next week. And then you'll kind of get a better feel for how exactly the Analyze app is working.
It's great stuff. And you really want to just kind of like let go of your ego when you're doing it. Just let it just kind of go in there and be open and curious. I like to use the curious thing because that really makes a big difference. Right? Be curious. And watch it more than once. I like to take information in. I like to listen to it, and then I like to listen to it again and write notes. And then I like to read my notes, and I come up with questions, and then listen to the content again, so I can answer questions again. Or if the content doesn't have the answers, then I start going out and researching, and looking for more answers. The cool thing about that whole process is that when you ask a question, and maybe you guys have noticed this, you ask a question just blanketly out into the world, somewhere along the line, some information comes into your awareness and you go, oh my gosh, I was just thinking about that. Right. And you get interested in it, and that rabbit hole takes you to maybe some new answers. So as Jake was showing there, watch those videos, take your time, take some notes. And then you'll see what, other rabbit holes open up for you. Okay. Let's see. Here's another question. Let's see. When using a program like Gallbladder in the Pink app with the Coil, do you put the Healy on your gallbladder? You can. You can. The Healy has about a 3-foot spherical max range with the Coil. Okay. Now, that's advertised max range. When a signal is generated from anywhere, let's just say you tap your finger on a table, it produces a vibration in the frequency of sound. And you can hear it very well at your proximity, but somebody further away may not. That sound wave still goes throughout the entire world, but not everybody can pick it up because it's so faint in its amplitude. It goes down in amplitude. Same thing with the coil. When it's transmitting a signal, magnetic wave, it has a broadcast range, a maximum effective broadcast range of 3-foot bubble, but it continues on omnidirectionally forever. It's just very, very low amplitude. So, so when you're doing say a gallbladder or any particular program, yeah, if you put it in the proximity of that body part, just a higher amplitude for that body part.
It's actually it's a great question. I don't think I've ever had anyone ask that specific about putting the coil on a specific location, because if you're running, say, some of the pain programs or the MagHealy making programs, like it shows, okay, putting the device on the area that the program is designed for. So it kind of makes sense what you just said about, okay, if you're using the coil, if it's possible to also put it near that particular location as well.
Yeah, and as Jake mentioned there, when you're talking about the pain programs with the Healy and you're looking at the microcurrent, it shows you, by the way, I want y'all to understand too, that not all of these programs were designed for the coil, right? The ones most designed for the coil are the IMF programs. They're made for using with the coil. The ones that are more designed for acute conditions, AKA the stimulation page or pain page, designed to be connected to the wires and the sticky pads in certain parts of the body, so you can get that implementation of that microcurrent directly to that spot. Now, not true of the MagHealy. The MagHealy is designed, that you don't have to be connected, but you can put it on certain parts of your body, and the illustrations on the app shows you what to do and where to do it. Same thing with the Healy. It shows you how to connect and where to connect. So the reason for that, when you're connected with the sticky pads and the electron flow is designed to go very specific spaces, is so that it infuses with the nervous system, because it's an acute condition. It's an infusion with a body section or a body part, and so that's very important. All right. And so then another added question here. So you can also just put on a necklace like that. So Healy just came out, by the way, with some really cool lanyards, right?
Yeah.
We're looking for those coming up. But yeah, you put the Healy on a lanyard. Of course, the Healy has a clip on the back designed to be able to clip on spots of your body, but maybe there's not a pocket right there near your gallbladder or a kidney, right? You got a waistband, but you can put these, a lanyard's still going to hang it in a certain spot, but definitely that's a great idea to put the Healy in a spot where you want it to be most speaking directly to that spot. All right. So we're talking, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got some questions coming in that that last one about specific conditions and stuff. I know Ken mentioned being the call, we're not recommending specific treatments and stuff. We're just kind of referring to in general how to use the Healy the best. And when you're talking about specific areas, and yes, if you're running a program designed for a specific part of the body, if you can place the electrodes there, that kind of thing, it is best to use it in that particular location there. So
yeah, and the coil concept of placing the coil on it and then placing the Healy in some part of the body that you're trying to address, same principles would apply with the sticky pads, electrodes. Same principle. We're just talking about trying to concentrate our focus or Healy's focus on something, right? Nothing wrong with that, and be your own experiment, right? I mean, I suggest that you just keep the intensity down when we're doing stuff like this, only because we're not sure how our body's going to respond. Your body sorts things out itself, and every body is a little bit different. I always use the analogy that I level the playing field with the body, because we all have one and we can individually understand what it's going through. But you are the only one that understands those sensations and what the body's going through. I can't really understand a feeling you're having in your body, but it's important that we do talk about that, right? That as you and your family member, or your friend, or whoever you're working with with the Healy, you have this open dialogue of, hey, what's going on, right? And then not just that moment, but also for a day or so after. Our body, as you probably know, anybody who works out, goes to the gym and just crushes it on leg day, what happens? How do you feel the next day? Your legs are like, you're like a little wobbly at the end of that. Maybe you're recovering. And so the body goes through this process of recovery. That's very necessary. So same thing when you're working with frequencies and microcurrent or magnetic waves, they're going to have an influence on tissues, organs, cells, emotions, things like that. And I always caution folks that you may experience like detox symptoms, right? If you don't know what that is, that's kind of like aches and pains or some fogginess or just things that kind of are not, you're not used to. Our combat, I should say, our helper with that is hydration. I always recommend everybody good hydration. Make sure that you're getting good, clean water in the body. And I'm talking about a lot.
Yeah.
I hear this all the time. Jake, you may hear people say, yeah, I
Yeah.
drink a lot of water. Right. And then you go, well, how much water did you drink today? Well, I had a little glass.
Yeah.
I had a little glass of water today.
Yeah.
And
Or I have four cups of coffee or something like that.
yeah, or they're talking about, well, I drank a lot today. What'd you
Lots of
drink?
liquids. Yeah.
I had a cup of coffee, I had a couple sodas, right? Drank a bunch of tea.
Yeah.
Okay. Not quite the same, because if you take a look at clear liquid, water's clear, isn't it? The more you put in there, that's particulates, it consumes space, right? Even though it's a glass of water, right? The actual H2O, the molecules of water, is less. Why? Because of the content of the solids. How do you know there's solids in there? We can't see through it. Can you see through coffee? No, there's some solids in there. Even though it's liquid, there's still some solids in there consuming physical space. So the amount of actual water molecules you're getting is less. So when I say drink water, I'm talking about just water. And you can't count the coffee or the tea as part of that equation. I don't, when I'm working with athletes and such, I don't let them count the Gatorade or whatever they're drinking. And again, I don't recommend certain things either. I don't let them count that. But half your body weight in ounces of water every day is a good set point, a good starting point. Half your body weight in ounces. So that means if you're 100 pounds, 50 ounces a day. So how much is a little cup? It's about 8 ounces. How much is a typical cup of coffee? It's 8 ounces, right? So 8 ounces versus 50 ounces. That's a lot of difference. So now you got a gauge to go by, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Especially with summer almost here and it's hot out there in most places around the country. People are sweating and losing fluids, a lot quicker than coming out of, the cooler weather of the winter.
Yeah. And that's a very valid point. I also, because of the temperatures, we also have to start thinking about the care for our Healy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Healy has a temperature range limit. You guys know that? Yeah, there's a temperature range limit. It's in your owner's manual, by the way.
Yeah.
But we don't want to leave our Healy sitting in a car any more than we would let our pet or our child stay in a hot car on a hot summer day, because it's not okay for it. It has a threshold of temperature.
Yeah. I mean, just like your phone, if you leave your phone on the dash of your car, it's going to say will no longer charge until it, reaches a normal temperature again, or whatever the case may be. There's protections built into these things to where the battery won't function the way it normally does until it reaches a safe temperature.
Yep. So Carrie's got a comment here. It says, I've used the Healy for 2 years now, and I tend to vibrate the Blue app for about 2 hours a day, and use microcurrent less often. Learning this may let's see, what's it? Learning this may be too much. So, um, yes, your body's going to tell you, your body's going to tell you if you are using something too much. Again, the symptom is kind of this detox symptoms. And that means you may feel aches and pains in some of the larger joints. Here's what happens when the body's detoxing. If you guys aren't familiar, when we do something, even a deep tissue massage, or maybe we have changed our diet into a low calorie diet and the body's starting to go into a slight state of ketosis, the body starts to release toxic burden. Now, toxic burden is stored in the fats. So a massage tends to move that out, right? Toxic burden is held in the tissues in forms of, say, emotional baggage or chemistry as well. And so when we do something that starts to release that toxic burden from the body, because when we do the same thing over and over again, whether we're sedentary in our lifestyle, or we're not very active, in terms of our motions are very limited, the body tends to not release. The excretion systems in our body aren't as efficient. So yeah, maybe you're eliminating every day, but you're eliminating, a lot of times there's not as much as should be eliminated. So in order to help the body get rid of things, the water in our system, the lymphatic system, it needs more water. It needs more movement in addition to the water. So the detox type symptoms, those chemicals or those burdens are released into the body, and then they settle in muscles, and joints, and in your head, in your brain, and so you get headaches or muscle aches. Now you've got a very clear symptom that you're getting you're not detoxing very well. You're getting release from the modality you're using, say Healy, but you're not getting the excretion happening properly. So up the water. And as Jake said, when it's hotter out, you're going to drink more. Well, my equation for half your body weight in ounces of water changes when you start doing some detox things, right? Also increase it. And you need to increase it by 20 to 25%. That's a bit. Okay.
Yeah, and also, as far as the number of hours per day, of course, all great tips, but also make sure you're taking at least a day off per week. Don't run this 7 days a week. It really is kind of up to the person, but even the official recommendation from Healy is to take at least one day off, and that's why when we launched the Healy demo experience last year, that it's a 7 day experience, but only 6 days of running programs. So, very important to give your body time to rest as well.
100%. Very valid. So you guys can go into your Healy app, by the way, under the information section and take a look at the manuals, the owner's manuals. There is a very specific temperature range in which Healy's optimized. I want to say 104 degrees Celsius is the top, the highest temperature, something like that. And so there's a question here about doing Pilates and hot yoga, and the room could be 95 degrees. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. The key thing to worry about and be concerned about is moisture. If you're sweating, right? When I'm working out, I sweat like crazy. I have a headband, I have a towel around my neck. And so I keep Healy on the outside of my towel, right? So that the sweat doesn't get into the Healy, right? So that's important, that you keep the sweat off, because it's no different than dipping it in water. All right. Awesome questions, by the way, you guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate this. Let's see what else we got. I think we're caught up still. Let's love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, we're good here. A couple more minutes left.
I know a lot of folks don't, when you get your Healy, you're just like the owner's manual goes over here and the packaging goes over there, and I just want the Healy, right? Take a look at that owner's manual, because there are some stats in the back. It's pretty cool because it even tells you the frequency range that Healy transmits. right? Anybody know what that is? I mean, it's pretty cool. The actual frequency range that Healy has the capability of transmitting is from 0.5 hertz to 1 megahertz or 1 million hertz. And that it divides that up into over 9 million different pieces. So there's a lot of frequencies that Healy can transmit. And that's the apps, both of them, and the programs utilize quite a wide range of frequencies that Healy can work within. Pretty cool information. All right. Gosh, we're caught up, Jake. You want to talk about anything else this week? What else is going on this week?
We have What's Up Wednesday tomorrow. So for those of you that are regulars, we got the full team back for that tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern time. So certainly join us for that. And actually, it looks like we just got another question that came in. Let's see.
Yeah, we
So
did.
should you run the pink app, so the Healy 2 app for specific location of the body only once per day? If it says to use the pads, if you use the coil, is it okay?
You know, I get this question all the time. So for instance, like when your car says, hey, run a certain size of tire,
Yeah.
do you run a different size of tire? I mean, you can. It still rolls, doesn't it? But again, the specifics, the instructions kind of give a guideline for optimization. Now, you can modify things all you like, and pay attention to yourself, pay attention to your body. Should you run, on a certain body part? Again, be the experiment, test it out, but you're going to see that the apps show you specific spaces to connect, as well as what type of connection to do. One thing I do want to point out, and I tell this to all my team all the time, is you notice that the picture, when you're connecting to the leads and it's connecting to the wrists, it shows you little round circles, right? Which would indicate maybe that's the sticky pads. Well, the wristbands are kind of interchangeable with that. So I use the wristbands personally because the sticky pads aren't as durable. I mean, they just don't. Plus, I got kind of some hairy wrists, and the wristbands themselves, because they're longer and go all the way around the wrist, you have more square inch of surface area contact than the little pad. So it gives a better connection. So that's what, that's interchangeable, and that's what I do, and I recommend to all my team.
Yeah, and also just to add to that, if you notice if you ever use the HealAdvisor search, and you go in there, you put in some sort of topic, and then it gives you pick one of the groups that come up. Usually you pick the first group, it's the most relevant. It'll give you a whole list of programs that contain frequencies that'll be beneficial for that topic. And then you can have it create a schedule for you, and you'll see that it'll recommend up to 3 programs per day if you have your settings set to recommend 3 per day. But they're spaced out throughout the day, and it might be it's not running the same program 3 times per day. It's going to give you a series of maybe 8, 10, 12 programs and running them over the course of a week. So maybe throughout the whole week you're cycling through all of those programs, but you're not running the same program morning, afternoon, and night for whatever topic that you're working on.
Mm-hmm. And to the question about how many programs to run. So what it's talking about specifically is the microcurrent programs. Yeah. 3 microcurrent programs per day. Why? Because the microcurrent, Healy is a non-invasive system, but the microcurrent is probably the most connected tangibly to the body. And if we're talking about, it's non-invasive, but the microcurrent is going to be the most invasive of any non-invasive, right? I mean, if that makes sense. So microcurrent is actually putting an electron flow physically connected to the body from one side to the other and measuring that result. So it's going to be the most intense. And then if you're using the sticky pads, same thing. Microcurrent still being infused in the body, different than the coil. The coil, like I said, it's information in a magnetic wave, and your body as an antenna decodes that. And when you're connected to the wristbands or the sticky pads, you're just sending electron flow through the body, and it's building a resonance between the body and the frequencies, and your body's just accepting that, taking that, right? So it's a little different. You can run more of the magnetic wave or coil programs than you can the microcurrent. There's not the same equation there. Still, pay attention to your body. Pay attention, because I'm telling you, when you do a lot, especially early on, you're going to feel a lot. And if you're not hydrating properly, you may wind up feeling not great. I'm just saying, I work with people all the time, and it happens. They say more's better, right, Jake? It's not.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's heard it so many times on our training calls. At Healy, less is more.
Less is more.
Yeah.
Less is more. And it's all, again, it's an experiment. What have you experimented with? The microcurrent? Have you experimented with the sticky pads or the wristbands? If you're getting a result with just using the coil or just using the Blue app with the quantum entanglement, great, perfect, keep it up, right? So anyway,
as you mentioned it before, especially with starting something new, like you wouldn't go from not working out to working out 5 times a day, an hour per workout session, and not expecting to feel any sort of negative effect there. So start slow. Less is more. You don't need to feel the tingling sensation. That's not the goal here at Healy. But
exactly.
so I think maybe let's finish with this last question here. Any info on the Healy Black yet? So that's referring to the new Healy Obsidian Edition, which you've seen all over our website, our social media. No new info other than you can earn one for free to be one of the first to ever receive this brand new Healy Obsidian Edition that also has access to the Black Diamond Club as well. We'll be sharing some more details on that on What's on Wednesday tomorrow. But no, as of right now, the main thing to know is that you can earn one for free with the current promo going on this month, where if you referred one new person with a Resonance Plus or higher between May 22nd to May 31st, you got the pass to participate in the June promo, where if you sell 4 Resonance Plus or higher or MagHealy Pro throughout the entire month of June, you earn that Healy Obsidian Edition for free. And then if you weren't able to complete step 1 in May, you have the opportunity to also earn it in June by doing 5 instead of 4. So we'll also share those details again tomorrow.
I love it. I'm super excited about the Black Obsidian, by the way, because I've been using the Healy for 4 years. I'm super active, and those white wires, I get them filthy. So like,
Yeah.
I want a black wire. I'm going to paint mine or whatever. But all right, you guys. Hey, thank you all for being here. Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Anthony.
And happy birthday again, Ken. Happy birthday.
Thank you, guys. I'm so excited about being here, and glad to be back. So we'll see you guys hopefully next week. We'll see you for sure tomorrow. You join us on What's Up Wednesday. And definitely, if you want to save the chat down there in the little chat box or up at the top of the screen on the chat side, 3 little dots, tap on those, click on those if you're on your laptop or PC, and you can save the chat to your hard drive. All right, guys, have a good one. Thanks, Jake. See you later.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thanks, Anthony. Bye, guys.